the mountains of Highland County this afternoon. My eyes are already there, but we have a show to conduct, and we've got lots more to talk about. Welcoming back to the Schilling Show, Corey Stewart, Republican for U.S. Senate. Corey, thanks for joining us once again on the Schilling Show.
Hey, Rob, always great to be on your show.
All right, we've got a terrible line. I'm going to see if that was just an anomaly.
Is this better?
That's 100 times better.
Okay. All right. Great.
Okay, so let's go to, you had a big press conference yesterday. You've picked up national news media in your claims that the GOP establishment is against you, and you have proof of it. Tell us about it, please.
Well, we have, the Washington Post reporting, from the NRSC, that's the National Republican Senatorial Committee, that they would prefer to lose to Tim Kaine rather than have Corey Stewart on the ballot. That's the situation. That was them quoting a source inside the NRSC. And then, of course, this lawsuit that was filed by Ivan Raiklin earlier this week, in which he says that the head of the RPV, Republican Party of Virginia, encouraged him to support anybody but me, on the ballot. So we've got that. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not worried about the establishment. They're going to put the money in the race. They're going to try to buy this nomination. But people are smarter than that. I'm not. I'm confident I'll win this thing.
So, Corey, John Whitbeck and the RPV are denying that the conversation with Ivan ever took place. And Ivan was here, a guest on yesterday's program. So this is all very strange. I mean, if they're going to be against you, and if that's the case, they ought to just come out and say it, right?
Well, that's what I think. I mean, that's a manly thing to do, right? I mean, if you're going to have a problem with somebody, just come out and tell them. If Ivan lied to the court in his document, that's possible. I don't think he would do that. I don't think he's smart enough to know that that's a serious offense. But all I can do is, it lines up with everything and all of the behavior so far of the Republican establishment trying to control the nomination process. People from outside of Virginia, people at the RNC, the NRSC, senators, Mitch McConnell, trying to control who's going to be the Republican nominee in Virginia. And I just think that's wrong, and we have to stand up to it.
We're talking with Corey Stewart, Republican for U.S. Senate. Let me ask you, what is the fear? Why is the RPV, the NSRC, or NRSC, and others, why are they fearful of your candidacy?
Well, I've been very strong for a long time on illegal immigration, brutally strong on it, cracking down on illegal immigration, not afraid of it. And then also, last year, standing up for the historical monuments, standing up for Confederate monuments. They shouldn't be torn down. And their fear is that my rigid stands on those issues are going to somehow hurt other Republicans in Virginia and across the country. Of course, I disagree with them. I think the whole problem has been that the Republican Party hasn't been standing up at all. And people, they go to the polls or they don't go to the polls because you got a wimpy Republican Party who won't stand up on controversial issues. So they want to keep doing things the way they've been doing them for the last 40 years, and it clearly doesn't work. You've got to have stronger candidates. That's the only way you get the base to turn out. That's why we've lost 9 consecutive elections statewide in Virginia's Republicans, because we don't have candidates who are willing to stand up even on controversial issues.
So, Corey, I kind of see parallels to the Trump candidacy going back to 2015 and 2016. And in particular, your concern about people not showing up. I mean, the people really did show up for candidate Donald Trump, now President Donald Trump. They showed up because he was talking about the things that those wimpy establishment toilet paper Republicans, as you've used before, would not say. And he said them. And people who don't come out to vote decided they'd had enough.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is the problem with Gillespie. A standard Republican, boring Republican that won the nomination last year. He avoided controversy. And we look what happened. We lost the state by 9 points. I think that if Gillespie had grasped the Trump base, if he had stood steadfastly by the president, invited the president down into Virginia to campaign for him, the Trump base would have shown up. That's what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to be rolling out the red carpet for President Trump. That's how we get the Trump base out. You've got to be sincere. People have to know that you're willing to stand up for President Trump, not just during the campaign, but if you can't do it in the campaign, they know you're not going to do it if you're elected. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's how we're going to deliver the base in this midterm election.
Let's go to the phones. We've got a couple minutes left with Corey Stewart, Republican for U.S. Senate, and Greg is with us. Greg, go right ahead with Corey.
Hey, Corey. Good to hear you again. The problem is you've got short-term interests, the short-term profit interests of multinational corporations. These CEOs have to represent their shareholders, and they'll sell our country out to China. They'll sell our country out anywhere in this global economy. And in the meantime, the Chamber of Commerce wants cheap labor here. The wages haven't gone up, even though business is better. And so really there's just short-term selfishness within the establishment Republican Party because their bread and butter is spread by pastry and multinational corporations. And so therefore, I'm all for business, but what the problem is the American people have been thrown under the bus. And until the establishment realizes that we are sick of it, us common working-class folks, they're not going to get voted in representation. And I'm in the Republican Party, but I will stand up against the establishment as well. And I just want to get your 2 cents on that.
Greg, thank you. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Greg, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you said it a lot better than I've ever heard it said before, and that is people are sick and tired. And when they say the Republican establishment, really what people are sick of is the establishment, just the way things are. There's a class of people, political elites in Washington, who don't want to change anything. And many times they're in cahoots with the Chamber of Commerce and that entire crowd, Republicans, Democrats. Meanwhile, our industrial base, our manufacturing base has whittled away in this country. We've sold it off to China. And then you've got, illegal immigrants flooding into this country, taking jobs, suppressing wages for working-class Americans. And they're okay with it. The Republican establishment, they're just fine with that. They're okay with that, and so are the Democrats. And that's why, President Trump won, because he got a lot of people like Greg and others who are sick and tired of it, who knew there was something wrong with our country and they wanted a complete change. And that's what they got in President Trump, and that's what they're going to get with me. I will be supporting him in the U.S. Senate.
Hey, Corey, finally, and we're just about out of time, but this is very important. I've noticed online a number of attacks against you regarding 2 issues. One of them is that you're a tax increaser, and the other one is that you are actually not strong on illegal immigration. And I want to give you a chance to address our audience who may have seen those attacks online.
Well, I mean, everybody knows it's ridiculous. So there's nobody in the country who's been tougher on illegal immigration than me. I led the toughest crackdown on illegal immigration anywhere in the United States 10 years ago. It's still in place. We've handed more than 8,000 illegal aliens over to ICE for deportation. I'm strongly supportive of the president and will be the vote that will get us the wall built. Now, on taxes, I've been governing this locality for 15 years, and and as chairman of the board, the statewide chairman, after hiring, the population of my county has grown by 100,000 residents since I've been chairman. Since that time, we've hired 300 new paid firefighters, 200 new cops, more than 1,000 new teachers, built 15 new schools. The tax bills today in 2018 dollars are lower today than when I took office. They're trying to, nitpick, and they're trying to say, well, in this particular year they went up, in that particular year. But you got to look at the whole thing. And I've been a good manager of this county in keeping tax bills the lowest in Northern Virginia.
I wish all those critics would focus their direction here in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, where they're spending like drunken sailors, and there is no one here to hold the reins. So maybe they could have a new calling to come down here and focus their firepower. Corey Stewart, if people want to get more information on your candidacy or to support you, how can they do that?
CoreyStewart.com, and on Facebook and on Twitter, it's Corey Stewart, DA, as in Virginia.
Corey, always good to talk with you. Thanks for joining us on the Schilling Show.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Indeed. Okay. The Schilling Show will continue in just a moment. You know that all the candidates are welcome on this program, even the non-candidates like Ivan Rakelin, who was here yesterday, who I guess may ultimately be a candidate once again. Nick Freitas made one appearance on this program after a lot of back back and forth work by people who are affiliated with the campaign, and we had never heard from them before, but he's welcome here anytime. And, of course, E.W. Jackson's welcome on the program as well, of a long-standing friendship with E.W. So we give everybody